YouTube Live. Oh, get this plug in.
What are you gonna do? You can upsize for $1. What are you gonna do? You can upsize for $1. What are you gonna do? You can upsize for $1. What are you gonna do? You can upsize for $1. What are you gonna do? You can upsize for $1. What are you gonna do? You can upsize for $1. What are you gonna do? You can upsize for $1.
The cacophony. One and a two and a three and a four and a. Would you like fries with that, mate? Oh, all that was about. All that was about was rock beats. And would you like fries with your rock beats? Oh, would you like to upsize? My name's Quinlan. Welcome to Melbourne Musos YouTube Live. And I hope you're enjoying the show. This is destined for community TV in about, no, not quite a fortnight. And what it is tonight, I was wondering if you'd like fries with that. Okay, so this is going to stay fairly straightforward. Sometimes I get a bit, I was thinking of doing Stravinsky today. I'm doing a thing for Impromptu TV, and it's all about Robbo's Tale, you know. L'Histoire du Soldat, the Soldier's Tale by Igor Stravinsky. But I thought, no, I've been asked to do, you know, something for the keep it basic. Now, when we're getting into our beats, this is a nice little plain old beat. And 1 and 2 and 3. Gotta count. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to upsize. Okay. I'm going to add fries to it, mate. And there you go. So what goes on with this is that you might have this basic beat's beautiful. You know, book 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Get it nice and even. There you go. Get it? Got it? Good. There you go. Now what can you do to spiff it up? Open hi-hats maybe. And when you're doing that this is a bit of a beginner to intermediate kind of lesson, okay? Just to straighten it out. I've done plenty of kind of stuff, polyrhythmic, Frank Zappa, all that stuff, but I'm going to keep it nice and straight. And what it is when you're doing the open hi-hat, what starts to happen is that your feet are going down and up. And now I often think about that like accelerated down, clutch up, you know, that kind of thing. Like that kind of idea there. Get it? Got it? Good. Oh. Now, one of the things about a hi-hat is that, of course, you have different lengths. I could make it short, long, something like that, even shorter. Now, when you get down to boot cam later on, you can see that I'm giving that a little bit of a pump. I've talked about that a fair bit too. There you go. Now, that's something you can do with your basic beat. You can add a bit of syncopation, okay? syncopation is the accenting of a normally unaccented beat. So if you're going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, anything that's off. So it might be ba, ba, ba. That's a lovely little thing if you're getting into tailing off phrases. You might have bam. Get it? There you have it, you see. Now what happens is you go through all your different little things. I'm keeping things fairly basic. I don't have any triggers on tonight. I'm keeping it very straightforward. What happens then is that the usual thing that goes on, and you can apply this to all your different kinds of beats too, whether it's a rock beat, which I'm doing now, a blues beat, a shuffle, getting into 16th note beats. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just build it up, you see, because if you've got this, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, what starts to go on is that you start to add things. So what can start to happen is that you can start to nuance the beat a little bit, you see. So what starts to go on, if you're getting a basic beat, very straightforward. Rim shot. And there's that coming up. And then what starts to happen, you start to add things to it. You could have, you can start to get into 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I think I've got something here.
1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1.
So what can happen here?
1 and a 2 and a
3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. Take out your left hand, move the right hand to the snare, single stroke roll. And then you can put in all the different kinds of little beats that you're learning, you know, perhaps on the snare drum on a practice pad, like a calypso or a 3/2 clave or a reverse clave, whatever it is that you want to have, you see. Now, what happens when you do put some of those in, so if I'm going to play, say, a calypso, which is 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and 1, known by many names in many different countries depending on the nuance, there you go. But if I sort of did that, and I had a, like, if I did it just between the hi-hat and the snare drum, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, boom. And what goes on with that is that all of a sudden, when you're playing accents on a practice pad, whatever, you've got your 1 to 10, and regular watchers of the show will know that the general thought process is that if you've got 1 to 10 as far as the volume, your accents are sort of roughly in thirds. So if you're playing at, say, level 3, your accents would be about level 9. If you're playing down at about 2, they might be 6, you know, that kind of thing. Oi! So that kind of thing there. Now what that is just straight up accents, okay? So you're creating that. So if I was to do... I'm getting into sort of like the tom things you see, you know, like the old Bo Diddley. Now that's depending on how you play it, it's open, or where you play it even, it's open to different styles, because if you're doing it down there, that's a good old Bo Diddley. But if you're doing up here, with a few rolls, you'd be forgiven for saying, I'm in a New Orleans second line rhythm band, that kind of thing. But now, this is the point with rock beats. What starts to happen is that when you go across to a rock beat posture, there's a bit of a calypso. And look at those little peppery ones. They're called ghost notes, you see, in this style. You wouldn't call them ghost notes if they're just accented, if it's just an accent in a snare drum part. They're not, I'm going to do ghost notes. No, it's when you're getting a bit funky, like boom, boom, boom. Now, rock beat. So, boom. More 3-2 clave there. It's like 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And you're noticing now that as I'm building that up, I'm starting to put in a little double with the bass drum. So if I could have this. Next thing. There it is. Oh. All of a sudden, we've gone from a basic beat. I'm working quickly because I've got, half an hour show, 25 minutes for TV. But what it is I'm building it up. So if I quickly go over, you've got a basic rock beat. Open hi-hat. Oh, that got ahead of me there. Maybe in an accent. Rim shot, that kind of thing. You're starting to build things up. Syncopate, that kind of stuff. Ghost notes is what I'm up to now. Now you're getting to the point where you're starting to get into semi-quavers, and then what starts to happen, and this is, I'll just quickly do it again. You've got your basic rock beat, like, oh. Then, I'll explain it, okay? I'll just take the second to explain that. So what you've got is a normal rock beat. Move the right hand to the snare, take out the left hand. 16 notes. And away you go. And what happens there is you get to a point. Now, if I talk about the books that I've written over the years, I got asked to write a complete syllabus back in the 90s, and I'm still using them. But what it is basically you can see what I'm doing so far. You're building up just a little step at a time. Okay. Now, I'm sticking to a rock beat tonight. But that could also be a shuffle, a blues beat, whatever it is, that kind of stuff. But then what happens is you get to a point where you're getting into, say, grade 2, and then into grade 3, where you're really, getting into the John Bonham stuff, and the Zigaboo Modelist stuff, and the Clyde Stubblefield stuff, where it's all like that. Beautiful, chunky, you're starting to get into your Steve Gadds and Vinnie Colaiutas and all sorts of stuff. And that is terrific. But when you're listening to music, what are you listening to? If you're like, I always ask, what songs are you listening to? And I got one yesterday, Sabrina Carpenter. I had no idea. And I put it on, I'm going, well, you don't need me for that. You know that beat, it's just a straight up 4 on the floor, you see. But as I was, listening to it, it's formulaic, it's pop music. I'm not dissing it per se, it's not quite my cup of tea. but still, you're going to have to play it at some point. So if you got a 4 on the floor, you don't wait for the chorus to go, oh, I got it out. That doesn't happen. But what I heard was a few extras.
One and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Would you like fries with that, mate?
Yeah, would you like fries? Because you're getting extra things, you see. So you could have that. Oh, there you go. And if you've got that, you know, if you can put that on the hi-hat, why not put it on the whoop, whoop, whoop. And then you got the running up the Jack and Jill, running down the Frog and Toad, mate. There you are. So what starts to happen, you might have a basic beat, but your hi-hat, or to a certain degree tom-tom, what can start to happen is you can put in nuance. You could have just a little subtle. Something like that, that kind of idea. And when you're doing that sort of business with the hi-hat, one of the things I love doing, I do it all the time, but when you're doing, say, 4 on the floor, like that, always remember there's a little so if you're getting that kind of thing,
You can upsize for $1.
and what you can do, you've upsized it, mate. And what you've got there is just putting a little oh, grandpa dubstep. Ah, there it is. So that's what you can do, you see. And then you can add your ghost notes and all that stuff. But what happens is, when you're dealing that very straight ahead kind of stuff, you can nuance it, you see. So you could have just that. Let's keep it bass and take the rim shots out of it. And what I'm doing with that little one there, I'm just taking the ands, 1, 2, little ghost notes, and then in between. Now, one of the things Steve Gadd did, sort of brought up, it was happening before, but he was the chap who popularised it, is that you've got your typical rock beat, turning that into a 16th note, semi-quaver rock beat. And then what he did, you started to hear in the 70s kind of like a double ride, you see. So you might be hearing And all of a sudden, it's what would be here is now, sorry about that, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1. You see, you got that kind of stuff. So it goes from there to there. There was a song that I used to play, Frank Zappa song called We Are Not Alone off of the Man from Utopia album. And it was a very similar kind of thing with Chad Wackerman on drums, but he would like da-da-da-da-da, da-da, da-da-da, and it'd have that. Oh, come on, Chris, come on. Sorry. That kind of stuff there. I need to upsize. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have. Oh, there you are. I better get a wriggle on with the show. So what goes on is that. So what happens is, to recap, you're going from a very basic rock beat. Lesson 1 even, you know. Even if you have to teach it in crotchets. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know. Da da da, da da da, ba da da, ba da da, ba da da. You know, gonna need it. Kashmir. I was listening at the other day. One of my students said, "Oh, I went and saw this band, and they did a Led Zeppelin thing, and they did it all with the orchestra and everything. So it was like the unleaded thing, and they did the Kashmir business. And what is it?" There's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. You're gonna need it. It's not like, oh no, like that. Don't really, whatever. But what happens is you get your basics. You start to add the nuance. You start to upsize for an extra $1. And then would you like fries with that? I could put in a little open hi-hat if you like. I could do this. I could put it on the ride cymbal. I could go to bell. I could do the floor tom, you know, that kind of thing. I could do a bit of a Stuart Copeland with a hi-hat, which I mentioned a few weeks ago with Peter Gabriel's Red Rain, where he was just booked to play the hi-hat. And you had Manu Cachet just he was basic. Whatever you need to do, you see, that's what happened. So there you have that. Adding. Now, the thing is, when I was talking about the books, you start to get to about grade 3, and it goes upside down, because all of a sudden you're playing really busy. You know, think of things like Good Times, Bad Times with John Henry Bonham, track 1, first album, Led Zepp, and what he could do with his foot. It was a sensation at the time, but it was getting done before, but just the way that he did it with the kind of bass drum sound and all that brilliant stuff. But then I've just finished talking about Kashmir, where it's like da-da-da, da-da-da, keep it straight, bonzo, no worries, Jimmy. And there it is. And then you've got things like Led Zeppelin 3, Out on the Tiles. Ba-boom, ba-boom, da-da-da-da, busy, and you know, and there's throws back to Zigaboo, Modeliste, and people like that with the meters and stuff. That was all right there in the early 70s, in the real formative times for that kind of business. So I'm going to get a wriggle on now, but what happens? You can start layering up. You can start taking a basic beat and layering it up, get real busy. But then you turn it around, because what starts to happen is people want the basic beat. Oh!
1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a
I hope you enjoyed yourself.
Upsize
Upsize for $1 and trying out a few things. Oh, the cacophony. Oh, it's beautiful.
$1.